flips a trap, flip the raps, flips a trap, flip the raps, flips a trap. Flip the raps, flips a trap, flip the raps, flips a trap, flip the raps, flips a trap. Flip the raps, flips a trap, flip the raps, flips a trap, flip the raps, flips a trap. Flips a trap, flip the raps, flips a trap, flip the raps, flips a trap. Flip the raps, flips a trap, flip the raps, flips a trap, flip the raps, flips a trap. Flip the raps, flips a trap, flip the raps, flips a trap, flip the raps, flips a trap.
What's up? Tunes. Working on something I made for make it for Zeeg. Elsieg. Working on your thing. Tunes. Damn. How you doing today? Oh, I already asked that. Hope everyone's doing good. Because I am doing fine. Put it in the server. Okay. That's pretty cool. I like it.
Hydration right when you need it. Get Go-Go Electrolytes.
Likey. Please, only 1K more. We just need another person to give 1K, and then I stream my webcam on or stream. The last day to do it, basically. So anyone in chat who's listening, and Zeke has completed the challenge. We have reached the threshold of 200K. Not 200K. What the fuck am I talking about? 20K. Jesus. And now I'm gonna have to stream my webcam on at some point. Great. Show it to the world. A long couple of weeks of waiting for the results. Also, thank you, Zeke, for raising that. I will be doing it either next stream or next week, if I get time next week. You'll be able to see my face at some point. It's quite the scary idea. Oh, so I'm so sorry. I don't know why I didn't give you a pardon on your behalf. You raised like 10K for that shit. You raised half of that shit. Thank you. I forgot. My dumbass. Thank you, Spot, for helping raise, well, 20K. Boy, if you don't, get out of here. But thank you, Wingspot, and thank you, Zeke. You guys both did very well, as in mostly Inkspot. Zeke just helped. This is awkward. You just do the one pop, please? Yeah, I got you. Kind of glad you said that. Because, didn't know how to feel about that other bot. And I want to make sure this is good because this is going to be your tattoo. I don't want to get something that you don't want. There's so much effort to choose, so much towards the goal. Exactly. Did very well. This big top part. Is the Zeke, is the fucking thing, is it gonna be colored? Or is it gonna be no? I don't know. Okay, well, I'll just do it colored. Okay, yeah. That's what I was thinking. You're an amazing individual who deserves everything good coming your way. Thank you, I appreciate that. My voice doesn't give that away very much, but I do appreciate it. It's been a very rough couple weeks, so... Not a rough couple of weeks, it's just been a long week. So I appreciate it. You're also an awesome individual, Ink Spot. No way this is a problem. Here we go.
You want me to work for you? I want you to find William Butcher. Come on.
How do you feel about the Zig so far? I wish I was able to hear, but I last put the garbage. I'm still not home. There we go. That's good. The blue liquid. My Shield Pop Mini. robot, bro. You fucking robots. Zeke, do I need to like render this thing, or do you want me to just do flat colors? Hey, your Discord, you fucking mug. Yeah, hold on. Streamer mode. I'm looking. Sure. Okay, there we go. Do whatever's going on my skin. Oh, do whatever. Okay.
T-minus 31 seconds, and we're gone for auto sequence start. T-minus 10 seconds, and we're gone for auto sequence start. T-minus 31 seconds, and we're gone for auto sequence start. T-minus 10 seconds, and we're gone for auto sequence start. T-minus 31 seconds, and we're gone for auto sequence start. 4, 3, 2, 1, ignition and liftoff. 31 seconds. And we're gone for auto sequence start.
Here's a real blockbuster.
Yo, you're live with Anderson Paak. Today, we're talking pro money moves. Ooh, we got our first caller.
Hey, AP. I'm paying rent straight from my bank. Is that the move?
Nuh-uh. That's how you get got. Paying bills straight from your bank can lead hackers straight to you. Not a pro move.
Wait, really? Because my boy Robbie said that when you...
Robbie don't got the moves. Pay with Visa. It's the safer thing to do. That's a pro move.
Okay, I'm switching.
Yes, Lord. Visa, the safer way to pay.
Are those the towering sliders?
This is not fucking blurry. Gotta wait for my fucking drawing program to fix itself.
Chase Sapphire Lounge by the club. The ambiance. The food. First stop on the trip of a lifetime. Chase Sapphire Reserve.
How are we feeling about the Sieg?
Blue Bunny Soft. Easy to scoop, ready for fun. She scoops. She scores! Goal! Blue Bu-
Y'all ready to get funky?
The most important part of dance is music. So now let us listen to the music and identify the beats.
1, 2, 3.
But that was too soft.
I think that's pretty solid. Gotta get here back from the Sieg.
Play it.
No, 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 no. Ooh, stop it.
Jump around now. Jump around now. Jump around now. Get down. Jump around now. Jump around now. Jump around now. Get down. Jump around now. Jump up, 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 get down. Jump around now.
Ow.
Get down. Jump around now. Get down.
We're gonna do some sketches. Sketches of what? I don't fucking know.
Around now.
Why are you asking me?
Fleas and ticks? Ick. Prevent the ick quick with flea and tick meds from Chewy
Looks like I'm the one
Pharmacy.
who's doing sketches.
Imagine more productivity with fewer subscriptions. Google Workspace includes AI in your work apps like Gmail, Drive, and Meet, helping teams streamline collaboration. Do better work faster with Google Workspace.
fucking stance cutely pose.
Let me see you shake that ass, 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 ass. Let me see you shake that ass, 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 ass. Ass, 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 ass. Let me see. Ass, 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 ass. Shake it, shake it, mama. Shake it for me. Get me busy with that ass, 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 ass. Work it good, work it the best. Ooh, let me know I need ass, 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 ass. I can make you shake if you want to be too. I can make you nude. Ass, 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 ass. Step in the room, I can feel it gets so red. Thing that vibrates is ass, 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 ass. Ooh, baby, let me get it. Let me get your breast in that ass, 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 ass. And when we do it all, baby, you would know. Let me see with me, baby, the rest of me just ass, 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 ass. Rock it, baby, rock it like you're bad. 'Cause what you have is some ass, 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 ass. Don't get me wrong, I think you're top class. I'm just feeling that ass, 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 ass. Let me get you hype, and you won't regret. I can make you wet. Ass, 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 ass. Take it to the end, and we're all okay. This is for the big fat ass, 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 ass. Ooh, baby, let me get it. Let me get your breast in that ass, 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 ass. And when we do it all, baby, you would
Oh, so by the way, there is a redeem. There's a redeem to make me do a little tiny doodle of whatever you want me to draw for 500. I'm doing a redeem for every stream. There's going to be a redeem that's specific for every stream now.
those the towering sliders?
the air one.
Before this turns into a commercial, let me drop something on you.
Hmm. I don't know what to draw. Don't know what to do. My mind.
The personal attention we have received from M&T has been exceptional. M&T has supported us with everything we need. They actually come to my plant. They understand what we do. Together with M&T, we can take over the world one empanada at a time.
Anime opening. Anime, I don't even know what it's called. Something like the anime break. Hold on. It is now starting to rain outside. Need voices in my ear. Need people to talk to while I draw. Fuck. It is indeed storming outside. Guess I'll work on the is it 2 full bodies? Hold on. I think it was probably 2 full bodies.
You could be vaping formaldehyde, which is used in taxidermy.
Oh dear.
What?
Formaldehyde. Oh dear.
What?
I knew it. Oh dear, oh dear.
What?
Aren't you an elk?
I don't know what I am.
I can't use that song, I don't think. Can't be just throwing these songs at me. Oh, full prism spawn. Yes.
JK, I take my meds. You got the hate and the jealousy. This ain't no Kiko, don't copy me. Hating on me, but you can't even read. I'm popping my pussy when I hit the category. It take a hoe to break a hoe, your mama hoe and you a bitch. These hoes can't address me. Bank account, that's my bestie. RTA is caressing. Boss, I'm undressing. No, you can't get a shout out. I'm surprised you're allowed out. Don't make me get loud now. Hate her up like the chow down. Depressed. I'm not, I take my meds. That man is in distress. He ain't getting no head. I said them hoes depressed. I'm not, I take my meds. I beat that bitch to death. JK, I take my meds. You got the hate and the jealousy. This ain't no Kiko, don't copy me. Hating on me that you can't even read. I'm popping my pussy when I hit the category. Right now, my bars make money. Chinchilla and all that shit funny. Let the hoe know that shit ain't funny.
I remember when this was happening at like before. That couple of weeks was fucking awesome.
Let's go.
I want it all, run it, yeah, run it, run it, yeah, run it. I want it all, run it, yeah, run it.
Vibe? Check. I'm Poshmark.
No money concert. Playing Minecraft right now. Dementia Live. Hashtag Dementia live right now. What the freak? Oh. Now it's starting to give me a lot of songs. I'm trying to find a good one that I like.
Stems thy trap, attracts and traps bugs 24/7.
What are you waiting for? Hop on.
They hate me. They don't want to give me any good songs. They hate me, and I'm gonna kill them.
Hang on.
Just kidding.
Homelander is the most terrifying villain I've ever seen. Every time he's on screen in The Boys, the tension is unbearable, and the audience can't help but dread what he'll do next. There is something really special going on under the hood of Homelander's character that gives him a major edge over characters like Joker and Darth Vader, and today we'll be exploring what that is, as well as tackling the question of how do you actually write a terrifying villain? Well, firstly, I like to think there are two kinds of hero-villain conflict. One where the power levels are pretty close, and the other where the power levels are vastly different. Take, for example, when Captain America fights Bucky in The Winter Soldier. In this fight, they're very similarly skilled, and yes, there's a compelling struggle as to who will win, but it's when there is a true power imbalance. When Darth Vader ignites his lightsaber and stares down the terrified rebels. When Homelander confronts, pretty much any other character in The Boys, or when Omni-Man fights Invincible, or in a less combat-oriented kind of conflict, when Hans Lander, the German colonel, stares down the powerless French farmer. Generally, these kinds of confrontations have way more suspense than the former. Hans Lander is a considerably more terrifying villain than the Winter Soldier in their respective scenes, because the relative power difference is so much greater. But when we have Iron Man and Captain America duking it out, we're on the edge of our seats asking who will win this fight. But when Homelander is furious at a character we care about, we don't ask who's going to win the fight. The power differential is so insane that we know there won't even be a fight. We instead ask what will the villain choose to do, knowing that what they choose to do is exactly what is going to happen. When you have a villain just as powerful as your hero, that can work great for your story, and don't get me wrong, it can be quite scary what's going to happen. But when you have a villain be quite a bit more powerful, now things are getting scary. We're genuinely fearful the villain will win, such as Iron Man fighting Thanos. But it's when the villain is ridiculously more powerful than the hero, that is when they become truly terrifying. As the idea that the villain will get everything they want, that the main characters may die, it feels more than just credible, but probable. And again, don't perceive power to be too literal here. Yes, it can be in the terms of having laser eyes or being a super soldier, but it can also take any other form of power. Perhaps a boss who can fire their employee and ruin their life. You could even pull this off in a toxic relationship where the manipulative character has complete control over the other's finances, giving them total power over them. One thing's for sure though, if your villain has less power than your hero, you're going to have a very hard time making them a scary one. There's a reason why you almost never see stories do this, because how can we fear what the villain will do when the hero can stop them with total ease? But then again, One Punch Man does exist, so even if you do go against this rule, you still can tell a great story. But while a power differential really does grease the wheels in terms of making them terrifying, it's not everything. It's only one piece of a larger picture. I mean, when you see Homelander in a scene with literally anyone else, we feel dread around what he'll do. But then you compare that to Thanos, someone who's also ridiculously powerful, and there are quite a few scenes where he isn't really that scary. For example, when he chats with Gamora about his plans in Infinity War. Both of these heroes are arguably the most powerful person in their respective universes, but why is that scene just not very suspenseful when Homelanders routinely are in The Boys? Clearly, power isn't everything here, and I reckon what's missing is that Thanos is not like Joker or Vader or Homelander. His personality is what matters here, not just because he loves Gamora, but because he isn't the sort to kill someone without a strong reason. For someone who's seeking to kill trillions of people, he will only do evil in the name of what he perceives to be the greater good. Only if he deems it absolutely necessary. You could go up to Thanos and punch him straight in the face if you wanted. If your death does nothing to help him achieve his end goals, he can actually be relied upon most of the time to spare you. Thanos, despite his incredible power level, is not as inherently scary as other villains we know and love, because he needs to have his motivations be properly set up in each scene, otherwise we won't be terrified by him. But compare that Gamora scene to the others where he confronts Star-Lord or Doctor Strange, and now suddenly those scenes are filled with suspense. Thanos is now incredibly terrifying because he's hitting all the criteria. The power differential is huge, and crucially, these guys are in the way of his end goal, so he's got his motivation to do harm established, which introduces the prospect that something terrible will probably happen to our characters. Villains like these can go down incredibly well, but even if your villain is powerful and has the motivation to inflict harm, that's still barely scratching the surface of what makes a villain a scary one. And I want to recommend something to you guys, because this week I've been reading Bird by Bird by Anne Lamott, and I've gotten a lot out of it. It's a lot 500 you to get look to find. They've never really done anything terribly evil before. A lot of kids' cartoons have this problem, where it's a villain may be incredibly powerful and will have a great motivation to do something evil, but it's incredibly hard to be terrified by them because they've never actually done anything like terribly bad. But then you compare that to, say, The Silence of the Lambs, where we see a Hannibal Lecter, and yes, the performance is terrifying and it's a very well written script, but what makes Hannibal so much more terrifying is the knowledge of the despicable, repugnant things he's done that have put him into this high security prison. When a villain has a history, a context of doing horribly evil things, it gives them a certain credibility, which makes the audience more inclined to believe that they may do something truly horrible to our characters. Homelander, again, ticks all of these off with flying colours. He's made all the more terrifying by the context around him, by the despicable things he's done, like killing a gunman who's already surrendered to him, by allowing a whole plane full of people to die, by burning the brains out of the woman he supposedly loved. And God, I'm going to have to be so careful when I edit this, aren't I, to make sure I'm not demonetized by all the gore. But there we go, that's point 3 on the list. Give them a history of evil. And yes, we're doing a list now, apparently. And again, point 1 is to give them power, and point 2 is to give them a credible motivation for committing evil.
I do better when you do better. You do better when I do better.
One bag, infinite possibilities. Kate Spade.
I love unskippable ads. I love them.
Keep playing, see what happens.
But here's what I believe to be the most effective way by far to make any villain scary. In fact, I think it's so important a thing to get right, the entire rest of this video will be nothing but breaking this 4th point down. And that is to surround your villain with uncertainty, where there is a great deal around the villain that is unknown. It's when we don't understand a villain, or at the very least, can't predict what they'll do next. It's when you as a writer ensure that uncertainty is around them in whatever form that may come. That is when any villain is at their most terrifying to your audience. moments. Like, one thing's for sure, Homelander has this quality in spades. He is endlessly surprising us, and the fact his character is so good at just shocking and surprising the audience again and again, is a major part, maybe even the most important part, as to why he's so scary. A case in point, when he meets that blind superhero and everyone is all smiles, it's all going great. This guy is meeting his hero Homelander, he's smiling back like, oh, this is actually quite a nice moment. That is until suddenly...
What happens if, I don't know, I do this?
And it got a reaction out of everyone. Like, it works great. Because if we had, I don't know, like a Tarantino-esque build-up of tension, where he's making his hatred for the disabled known, and he's acting all sinister and saying ominous things, we would have seen it coming, and not doing that, going for the shock-over-suspense approach, reinforces the idea that Homelander is truly unpredictable. Like, he's capable of murdering anyone at a moment's notice with no apparent reason. It'll make perfect sense after as to why he did it. In this case, we realize that he hates ordinary heroes enough anyway, as they're all weaker than him. But this guy is just an insult in Homelander's eyes. He's disabled after all, and how can someone as pathetic as him dare claim to be a hero and aspire to join the Seven, no less? He should have known his place. That's what was going through Homelander's mind, because his mere existence triggered Homelander's narcissism in all the wrong ways. But interestingly, we learn this motivation after the act, not before. And because of that, as well as because of the many other moments like this, how he murders so many people at the drop of a hat, they reinforce the idea that he could kill anyone he's with on screen. Which again plays back into point 3, because we're acutely aware of the degree of evil of which he is capable. But we've seen no end of scenes where Homelander basically just sits someone down and there's a threat that, ooh, he might hurt them, he just might kill them, and terror is derived from that. But what I feel is a scene that's way more interesting to look at here, and what reveals something fascinating about writing terrifying characters, is the one at the end of Season 2, where he confronts a SWAT team inside his home. And despite the fact this scene ticks off every prior point, you know, the power differential is insane, he has this history and context of doing evil, he's got a great motivation to inflict harm, there's very little suspense in this scene. It had very little terror. But by all means, though, this is a fun scene. Like, it's perfectly entertaining, but compared to his other scenes, it's just not very scary. And yes, a part of the reason why is obviously that we just don't care about these characters, right? That they're basically red shirts who we don't care if they die. But I reckon the main reason why is because this scene failed to tick off point 4 on the terrifying villain checklist, because the outcome of the scene is entirely predictable. Like, he's already been riled up because he was lured away from his house with a sonic noise, and when he comes back, he finds his son missing and a SWAT team in his stead. And when Homelander just calmly closes the door, like, we know everyone in the room is already dead. Like, there's no question about it. And the fact we know that robs the scene of the terror and suspense it could have otherwise had. And I know this is a really odd comparison to make, but when you have an illness, right, you've got some persistent symptom that's just never going away, knowing precisely what the cause is infinitely easier to deal with mentally than having absolutely no clue. Like, even if the diagnosis is rather grim, because it's the not knowing. It's when you have no clue what's going on or what's about to happen. That is the most terrifying thing in the universe. The fear of the unknown. In this scene, it wasn't terribly scary because every last thing was known. It was totally predictable that they'd all die, a fact the writers seemed to know full well, as they skipped showing the fight entirely and just cut to him walking out later smeared in blood. But in order to go deeper here on why uncertainty is such a terrifying thing, and why you should always ask how you can inject more of it into any given scene of yours, is how suspense and terror go hand in hand so often that you might as well think of them as the same thing. If we had to define it in a practical term,
I'm getting, like,
suspense
distracted.
is fundamentally a question. The question of, will X terrible thing happen, or will it not? And skimp out on including this at your story's peril, because when you boil it down, this This question is at the heart of all great stories. Will they save Private Ryan? Will Woody and Buzz make their way back to Andy's house? Will the characters survive Jurassic Park? And so on. It's the probability of us getting a
Introducing the bold kick and flavor of Cheez-Its.
It's kitchen day, and it may squeeze everything out of you. We're tackling the sink. Done. Stove. Check. Windows.
Finished.
And floors.
Lemony fresh.
Pine Sol, you did all that?
I've got a bone to pick with how some writers break their characters. They'll look at The Green Mile, Arcane, Up, Spider-Man 2, stories where the characters suffer a great deal and learn the wrong lessons. They'll think if I want to make it compelling, they've got to suffer more. Turn that suffering dial up. My protagonist gets mugged, their girlfriend leaves them, their dad hates them, they get hit in the balls and, I don't know, are tossed off a roof. That's the path to the promised land of great story. So they think, but several bad reviews later, people who write like that eventually realise there are rules to breaking your character. It has nothing to do with the amount of suffering. So then they might make the mistake of thinking their suffering must be realistic. We all suffer in random little ways all the time. Forget stepping on Lego, I stepped on this D4 the other day, wouldn't recommend it. So let's do that to my characters. Let's give them depression or make them destitute just because that's realistic. Only hold your horses, because that still isn't a great philosophy to approach writing from. I'm going to sound like a twat for quoting Shakespeare, but there's a reason he wrote this about life.
It is a tale told by an idiot.
Because if you put an actual person's life into a story, that would be a shit book. The dialogue would be so dull, there'll be so many pointless tangents. Printing one copy would mean chopping down the rainforest. It all comes back to an Aaron Sorkin quote that lives rent-free in my head.
The properties of people and the properties of character have almost nothing to do with each other.
The suffering of a real person and the suffering of a character are very different things. Tell you what, here's a film that breaks its protagonist in all the wrong ways. King Arthur and the Legend of the Sword. So Arthur has a friend, they're best pals. Just before the climax, this friend is killed by the big bad villain. So we get a 3-minute sequence where Arthur mourns and decides to toss away his sword, renouncing his birthright as they splice in shots of his dead good buddy old chum, just to emphasize that yes, his death is what somehow caused this crisis of faith. He then jumps in the mud and writhes around for a bit.
There's some lovely filth down here!
But then some watery tart throws the sword back at him. She gives him a 5-second vision saying, "But the villain will win if you give up." So then Arthur goes, "Yes, that's true. Never mind, I suppose I will keep the sword after all." And literally nothing is different from the start of this scene to the end of it, save for the fact his friend is now dead. They really try to make you feel for Arthur in his lowest moment, and it sucks. It is just not good writing. Instead of evoking empathy, it evokes apathy as the story thoughtlessly plays into the formula of having an all hope is lost moment just before the climax. Why is this an awful way to break a protagonist? Well, sure, there are lots of little reasons, like how this dude was only in the story so he could die in this scene. That's just not efficient writing. You have Arthur not changing at all in response to this moment where he supposedly breaks. That's another huge blunder we'll look at later. But leading into the most damning part, Arthur isn't actually responsible for his mate's death. The friend requested everyone go on, and Arthur simply did as asked. It was his mate's own mistake that got him killed. His death having nothing to do with Arthur's actions makes this beat even weaker. But the biggest reason of all, with every example I have ever seen of a writer screwing this up, it's a flaw they have all shared. The suffering is not tailored to the character. Anyone would feel sad if their mate just died. Anyone would mourn. A character's friend dying for no grand dramatic reason, that can be fine. The more I've written, the more I've realised my ultra-utilitarian view of this stuff really can squeeze a life from a story. But the issue with this one is it really tries to milk this hollow beat for all it's worth. And the result is melodrama. But okay, do you want the skeleton key to tailoring suffering to your character? As Robert McKee said, the substance of a story is the gap that splits open between what a human expects to happen when he takes an action and what really does happen. The rift between expectation and result. And this isn't just writing gold, it's writing platinum. Like, I don't know, like whatever comes above gold, that's what this is. Your character must want
Pretty good for
something,
tuna.
expecting something to happen, and their expectations being broken, that is when they break. It's when they realize the framework with which they've perceived reality is rubbish, that is the soil from which you can break your character in the most powerful way possible. This is the secret ingredient. It is Oskar Schindler, saving people with no end in sight. In his mind, there isn't much rush because there's always another person to save. But then the war is over, there's nothing left to do, and so that perception is broken, and so it dawns on him how utterly inhuman his old view was, because instead of saving another person's life, he chose a personal luxury instead.
This is gold. Two more people. You would have given me two for it. At least one. One more person. Person, Stan.
How do I break my character's perception of reality? I am not joking. Aside from a very specific other approach, every great moment of a character breaking that at least I can think of comes back to this question.
Alright, I got a art trade to do, so let me...
People have lots of opinions when it comes to our bodies. Our shapes, how we dress, even our birth control. Time out. Since when is it anyone's business but yours? Birth control is your decision. Mirena is over 99%.
For context, that other approach would be putting them through a terrible ordeal near the start of the story, and bizarrely, it almost always involves someone close to them dying. Joel's daughter dying in The Last of Us, Kaladin's brother dying in Stormlight, Bruce Wayne's parents getting killed by the Mugger, Jinx trying to help her friends, but accidentally killing them. These moments aren't so much about someone's perception being broken as they're about traumatizing them. That trauma instills a belief into them which either defines who they'll be from then on, a la Batman, or it sets up the arc they'll be going along as they respond to the trauma, such as Joel. Jinx killing the ones close to her was bad enough, but her sister seemingly abandoning her because of it really sealed the deal. It traumatized her with the idea that she's a broken, useless mess who can't do anything right, and everyone close to her will surely abandon her because of it. That wound it creates in her is explored in some very powerful ways. But if I had to stick my neck out by saying a universal rule here, which I generally try not to do, what I see when I look at the great moments where characters break, pretty much every time, them breaking is a beat in their arc. It could be the start, middle, or conclusion of it, but somehow they need to change as a person after this moment of breaking. Take Carl in Up. It actually goes for both methods of breaking the protagonist, first in that opening montage, but also again in the climax. He believes that if he can just get to Paradise Falls, everything will be alright. He believes life is all about the destination. Then he reaches the destination, and it isn't what he expected, so he falls into depression. Carl breaks alongside his perceptions, but then he sees his wife's book that she never finished, realizing she actually did finish it, and what she asks him to do in her final words becomes his new perception. It's not the destination, it's the journey. In one scene, Carl is broken and rebuilt. One model of perception is swapped for another. Textbook. In Spider-Man 2, Peter believes that he can be Peter Parker and Spider-Man simultaneously. He gets distracted by helping people while he's delivering pizza, so he gets fired. His girlfriend gives him tickets to see her play, but he's held up Spider-Manning, so he misses the performance. His relationship with her is falling apart. His grades are also going down the toilet. He is failing in every way at life because he's trying to do too much at once. And so he hits his breaking point.
I'm Spider-Man. No more.
He throws in the towel, no more Spider-Man. While he believes he can live a life as Peter and Spider-Man, that isn't really what he believes in its purest form. That would be, I can live my life without sacrifice. There are really two ways you can handle a character reacting to their breaking point. They must change somehow in reaction that is non-negotiable, because otherwise means the moment had no impact on them, so it was ultimately pointless. Cough cough, King Arthur, cough cough. So there are really two ways to go. You either want them to shed their old belief and adopt a new one like Up, or you want them to double down on that original belief. Like here in Spider-Man 2, that's how Peter reacts to his breaking point. He doubles down. He first believes he can live without sacrifice, things get tricky for him, so he fully commits to that worldview, giving up the burden of Spider-Man, cherry-picking the aspects of his life he enjoys the most. And hey, everything's now great for him, his grades are picking up, his relationship with MJ's improving, but without Spider-Man, people are being hurt. He sees how sorely the world needs his other side, so he shifts one final time in his arc as he finally learns to sacrifice the things he cares about most for the greater good. Ultimately, when you're breaking your character deep into their arc, you need to first define what their belief is. They must hold it strongly, and you must be able to say it simply, otherwise you don't understand it well enough. Now, anyone would be quite sad when their hand's just been chopped off, but when Jaime's is chopped off in Game of Thrones, it's still suffering uniquely tailored to him. I am the best swordsman in Westeros. That is my identity. Oh, my hand just got chopped off. Never mind, if I can't be the world's best swordsman, who am I? It's the event that kicks off his arc. I believe the death penalty is a good thing. Oh, someone's being executed who is completely innocent. I certainly can't believe that anymore. I need to quit my job and do something else. I'm a stubborn policeman who believes that redemption is impossible. That pesky Jean Valjean, he stole a loaf of bread. He'll be forever a criminal. Oh, what's that? He just saved my life? Impossible. Only good people do things like that, which means my entire worldview is wrong.
And must I now begin to doubt? Who never doubted all these years?
And what Valjean's done has upended such a foundational belief of mine, I can't carry on. You might think I added that sound effect for the funnies, but no, that is the actual sound they play in the movie. The director of Cats, everyone. But with all of these good examples we've looked at, their moment of breaking is always a key beat in their arc, signaling a moment of change. Challenging belief is a cornerstone of good writing, and a great way to achieve it is to have them act out said belief. It then fails miserably, they suffer a ton because of that, and so they either shed that old belief, learning their lesson, or they hold onto it even more fervently than before. A great example is a character wrongly believing they can't watch a great show because it's not streaming in their country. Then their belief is proven wrong by NordVPN, the sponsor of today's video. Smoothest segue I've ever done, but I use Nord all the time to pretend I'm in Canada or Australia and get access to a ton of shows I otherwise couldn't see. Last Week Tonight isn't available in the UK, which is a shame, but if I click this nifty button, suddenly I can watch all of their stuff on YouTube. If you're in the US, you can use Nord to pretend you're in the UK and watch a film you can't on US Nord. It's also got Threat Protection Pro, which is fantastic.
With Rula, your mental health care is covered by insurance and transparent upfront pricing.
Sam, are you cheating on me with another pet store?
No, it's just they have auto ship.
PetSmart has auto ship too, and same day delivery.
You're like the full package.
Smart deals, low prices. PetSmart, anything for pets.
Does it surprise you to learn that the oldest story we have, carved onto this stone tablet in 2000 BC, is about a king chasing immortality? From the literal dawn of our species, immortality has saturated our stories, and it's for three main reasons. It's a chance to explore the inevitability of death. Voldemort, Boulder, Barbossa, all
sorry I've been kind of quiet, I've just been kind of vibing, drawing.
Enough to avoid fate. There's something incredibly powerful here, how using all of the dark magic in the world, even that isn't enough to escape death. Take the Epic of Gilgamesh, that ancient story I just mentioned. The oldest story known is of a man trying to become immortal, failing, and having to accept that his life will come to an end. Stories using immortality to emphasize death's inevitability, they can be incredibly powerful. But then you've got the second appeal, wish fulfillment. People want to be like Phil in Groundhog Day, mastering the piano and ice sculpting. There is something deeply appealing about having infinite time to learn all the skills, read all the books, and never worry about that pesky inevitable end. Immortality can really add to a feeling of escapist fantasy. But on top of those two, there's the third appeal, and I would argue it's the most interesting of the lot. Immortality allows you as a writer to explore humanity from a totally
practically dead silence for
perspective. If you look
past
at
half
Maslow's
hour.
hierarchy of needs, you'll notice that those
I'm also listening to the
staying
video. That's fair.
alive An immortal never needs to worry about that stuff. They don't need to eat or drink or have safety. It really doesn't matter if they get shot, they'll be fine. These all might sound quite obvious, but what they mean is what would be a higher need for us puny mortals of, a love, esteem, fulfilling one's potential, those become their fundamentals. An immortal might crave companionship as much as someone dying of thirst craves a glass of water. This can create some fascinating characters which let us see humanity in a new light, and when you let them live for a few hundred years or more, this can magnify these aspects even further. When Wolverine loses all purpose in life, when the Doctor feels utterly alone, or Dr. Manhattan becomes apathetic about humanity, they're exploring the extremes of feelings we all might have in small doses, only these immortals deal with these issues with a far greater dramatic intensity. Many stories have explored this third appeal in some very interesting, sophisticated ways, and by the time this video's done, you'll have what you need to make your story one of them. What's so enamoring about immortality is how it is both the greatest blessing one could have and the most terrible curse one could think of, which leads us to part 1, the cost of eternity.
I'm old enough to know that a longer life isn't always a better one. In the end, you just get tired. Tired of the struggle. Tired of losing everyone that matters to you. Tired of watching everything turn to dust. If you live long enough, Lazarus, the only certainty left is that you'll end up alone. That's a price worth paying. Is it?
Of the people who would choose to have immortality, I doubt they put much thought into how unique a form of torture it is. Obviously, no one knows what immortality would be like, but one common through line that pretty much everyone agrees on: if you're the only immortal around, being crushed by loneliness and grief is inevitable. You might eventually stop caring about people entirely, not necessarily because of nihilism, but because you've already had 19 lovers or best friends, and you can't stand the idea of watching yet another die, having your hearts broken for the 20th time.
Immortality isn't living forever, that's not what it feels like. Immortality is everybody else dying.
If things get bad enough, you might end up like Omni-Man, viewing the lives of strangers as worthless and viewing loved ones not as people, but something lesser.
I do love your mother, but she's more like a pet to me.
There are so many fun, heartbreaking ways to do an immortal's relationships. Take Torchwood. Jack has a nephew.
Uncle Jack!
Steven! Hey, soldier, how you doing?
Only Jack doesn't have a nephew, that's his grandson. They lied about who he really is because it's far too difficult a truth to burden the kid with. And Jack's immortality is ruining his relationship with his daughter.
I just can't stand it, Dad. I look older than you do and it's never gonna stop. One day you're gonna be standing at my funeral, looking just like you did when you were standing at Mum's. No wonder she was so furious. You make us feel old.
Kicking up the dirt as I pull up my skirt. When I walk by, they all on alert. Eeny, meeny, miny, more, you could be first. Left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. Jaywalk.
Wait for it to start.
Jaywalk.
Ready, use your left eye.
Oh yeah, chat. It's that
Then take Superman Unchained. Superman sees a vision of his future. A decade. Not long, yet everyone appears so much older, don't they? What about you, though? You don't. Unless you do, because you apply makeup. And Superman does what he can to fake aging just so he can fit in. As hard as he tries, it all comes to an inevitable end. And now it's 80 years from today. Open the door, Superman. What do you see? However you write your immortal, it's unavoidable that they'll be detached from the mortals around them to some degree. They're not just lonely because all their friends keep aging and dying. After a while, they're alone because there is no one out there who has even vaguely similar experiences, life goals, and attitudes. They become increasingly unique in the population with time, drifting away. People might not want to be friends with them because the immortal is odd and, frankly, impossible to relate to. What happens to the mind of an immortal and how they'll change mentally is a fascinating topic that I'll cover later on, but there's a whole other angle to approach the costs from, because ultimately, immortality is magic. Thinking about how this affects their spirit and relationships is all well to do, but it's often a good idea to treat their immortality as its own magic system. And according to our Lord and Saviour Brando Sando, praise be, with magic, limitations are more interesting than the powers themselves. Barbossa is a way more interesting character because of the price he pays for his immortality.
For too long I've been parched of thirst and unable to quench it. Too long I've been starving to death and haven't died. I feel nothing. Not the wind on my face, nor the spray of the sea, nor the warmth of a woman's flesh.
And that's very similar to Boulder from God of War. He's invulnerable, and the price he pays is not being able to feel anything. Not warmth or cold, not sex or pain, and it's driven him utterly mad.
Death has no power over you now. You would rather die?
Than never feel again? Yes.
Ask yourself this: what hardships affect my character because of their method of immortality? Are you writing a sci-fi? Then perhaps your character needs to pay a hefty subscription fee to stay alive, or the company pulls the plug. Perhaps they might be given a new body for their consciousness, but they don't own that body, they're leasing it in return for working a certain job, so it's essentially a new form of slavery. Mickey 17 is a great example. The character's life is viewed as utterly worthless, because if he dies, they can just print him again.
Well, it's nice knowing you. Have a nice death. See you tomorrow.
No, 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 no! What are you doing?
Huh?
You can't tear a hole in my fucking carpet!
We'll just shoot him from the side.
Though there's a story that came before with essentially the same concept, Hard Space Shipbreaker. In that game, the player characters signed a dark and awful contract where they become a debt slave working the dangerous job of salvaging old ships. Every time they die, they're resurrected, and the fee of the new body is added to their already cripplingly large debt. It's a great game, by the way, literally an incredible game, and I've yet to meet a person who has played it. But let's look at things from the other side. Are you doing fantasy? Then consider the One Ring. It gives the wearer uncommonly long life, yet it also corrupts, turning anyone who bears it for too long into something monstrous. The ring doesn't give you extra life per se. Instead, it takes the life you already have and it stretches it out.
I feel thin, sort of stretched, like butter scraped over too much bread.
If it goes on for too long, you'll turn into Gollum, a sad, corrupted thing. The possibilities for Kos, especially with fantasy, are only limited by your imagination. Rand in the Wheel of Time, he's a reincarnation of an immortal spirit, and as he attunes with his old self, he goes more and more insane. That's a fun cost. Or take the Hulk. He is cursed like Barbossa, essentially unkillable, but with a Jekyll and Hyde dynamic. Perhaps there's something they need to do continually in order to remain alive. Some terrible price they pay again and again to stave off death. It could be the Emperor in Warhammer 40k, needing 1,000 people sacrificed daily just so he can stay alive. Or vampirism. A lot of depictions involve them needing to feed, else they'll die or degrade. In the film Daybreakers, vampires have proliferated and totally taken over society, only due to a mismanagement of the human livestock, the humans are dying out, so they're running out of blood. This is causing all the vampires to descend into rabid monsters because they can't feed. Within all this, there's a character who's forcibly converted into a vampire, but she refuses to feed, she refuses to debase herself and pay the cost inherent with being a vampire, so she chooses to die, essentially. She descends into a savage creature.
I only got 3 sketches to do.
She's so unwilling to cross that
But those sketches
very interesting.
have 2 of the answers, and 1 of the answer I don't have. So Yeah. Honestly, I don't know what to do. Because on one hand, I could just I could just end stream. I mean, we're gonna probably have a long stream tomorrow. Art streams usually don't last too long for me. And I mean, I do actually know what I can work on. Gotta open up Blender though.
Character work made possible because of the limitations in the magic system. Another banger, the Lazarus Pit. Yeah, it'll restore your health and make you younger, and it can even resurrect, but it exacts a terrible cost. It becomes less and less effective with each use, and centuries of using it has degraded Ra's al Ghul's mind.
He's already dead. He has died 1,000 times. And every time the Lazarus Pit restored him, he came back worse. More hateful. More crazed.
Bootstrap Bill, he's bound to the Flying Dutchman for eternity, and it's giving him magical dementia.
Bootstrap, you know my name.
Every time he finishes a conversation, his memory is reset.
Bootstrap. Oh. You know my name.
It's pretty grim, but I have to say the most upsetting depiction of immortality I've seen comes from Torchwood.
Nessie's built different. That's why he only runs on Duracell.
Power boost.
My moderate to severe ulcerative colitis symptoms kept me out of the picture. Skyrizi helps deliver symptom relief as early as 4 weeks and is proven to help deliver visible colon lining repair and remission.
Don't use if allergic. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and TB. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for Crohn's or UC.
Ask your doctor about Skyrizi.
So there's a guy called Owen, and he gets shot and killed, only he's resurrected, and while he is now ageless and technically immortal, all biological functions of his body have stopped. He is pretty much a walking corpse. If he gets scratched permanently. His hair no longer grows. He can't eat or drink anything, because if he does, this happens.
I forgot. My digestive system's shut down. That alcohol I drank is just going to sit in my stomach. It won't go anywhere.
Can you just stick your fingers down your throat?
I'm dead. It's just another one of those things.
Got a bottle of dumbass right here.
Lost in the process.
So he has to use gravity to get the alcohol out.
That is the single most disgusting thing I have ever seen!
You might be wondering why I find this the most disturbing depiction out there, because it's not actually Owen that upsets me, it's an entirely different depiction in the 4th season. So the premise of that season is that everyone on Earth is suddenly immortal. Only there's a catch.
One of the victims has been... I'm sorry. They brought me in as an expert, but I don't know what the hell this is.
The catch is, everyone's bodies still work the same.
It's
they
the
still
background
age,
like that.
they can still be blown up or have their necks snapped. Nothing is changed about the body's ability to heal, yet they'll remain alive forever, all the same.
We think this man was right at the center of the blast, and yet he's still alive. Clearly, the skin is burnt. He's not indestructible, just undying.
The whole series is exploring the ramifications of what would happen if this suddenly happened to everyone on Earth. And my god, does it go to some very dark places. Miracle Day really went under the radar. It's some damn fine, disturbing stuff. So much so, it's a key bit of inspiration for my horror novel I'm currently revising. But I think it goes without saying that this is easily the worst form of immortality one could have. Like, give me Barbossa's curse any day of the week, because this one's pure nightmare fuel. So, we've got the costs one has to endure while being immortal, but a whole other way of approaching this here are the costs involved in attaining it in the first place. There are some really fun depictions where we discover the horrific price someone had to pay to overcome that initial hurdle of death. You can die, or accept Davy Jones's offer.
Join my
crew and postpone judgment.
And escape death by becoming effectively a slave, as well as having your body transformed into a nautical-themed monstrosity. That's
Come
pretty
on.
grim. Or take Voldemort
Got
and his
it.
Horcruxes. He can take a part of his soul and put it into an object, but every time he does it, he
Come
has
on,
to
Blender.
kill someone.
7. Merlin's beard top. Isn't it bad enough to consider killing one person? To rip the soul into 7 pieces.
And there's an episode of Batman Beyond that is just delightfully fucked up. Ra's al Ghul died, and Talia's been acting all weird, only for her to say
there we go.
this.
I did not want you to find out this way, but I suppose what is done is done.
Detective.
And it turns out that when the Lazarus Pit stopped working for him, Ra's murdered his daughter and stole her body so he could keep going.
In order to save my life, I called upon Talia to undertake the ultimate act of loyalty.
You sacrificed her. Your own daughter. Sure, Raish, why not? Anything to hold off the Grim Reaper another few seconds. I take it back. You don't cheat death. You whimper in fear of it.
The Last Crusade. You can become immortal, but you need to choose the right cup. And it's not a choice you want to get wrong.
He chose poorly.
Here's where the limitations of their immortality become incredibly important, when they add stakes to the story. The threat of your character dying is a staple stake in pretty much every genre if you discount romance. This all presents a tricky question: how the hell do you have stakes in a story when your character can't die? Many writers have grappled with this issue, and far and away the most common approach I've seen is to keep the threat of death on the table, because what they've got is conditional immortality. That could be being cursed to live forever because you stole some medallions until someone breaks that curse, in which case you become just as mortal as anyone else. It could simply be being ageless. The elves in Lord of the Rings are perfectly mortal, they just live for a stupidly long time. It could even be vampires. A vampire's got to have their blackout curtains ready to go and be extra vigilant during the day. Dorian Gray. He's immortal, unless he sees his painting, in which case all of those years catch up to him and it doesn't end terribly well. It could be drinking from the Grail and being immortal, so long as you remain confined to the temple. Should you leave it, your immortality leaves you.
That is the boundary and the price of immortality.
There are so many kinds of conditional immortality out there, those are only a few. But ultimately, here's the rub, and here's a way of totally recontextualizing this entire problem. Writing a character who has immortality is very similar to writing a character who has plot armor.
They say higher education is outdated, irrelevant, but at Grand Canyon University, we shatter the status quo. GCU campus students have the opportunity to graduate in less than 4 years, and with less federal and private loan debt on average than students at other private nonprofit 4-year universities.
Affordable education should be for all.
This is purpose-driven education. Take action. Find your purpose at Grand Canyon University. Visit gcu.edu.
Would you just look at those roots? They're bonny plants, of course. Remember how many tomatoes we had last year from these? Dozens and dozens. Always look for Bonnie at your local gardening store.
Bonnie's your favorite for a reason.
Doctor Who isn't technically immortal, he's just ageless. He's functionally immortal because the show is named after him. He's not going to die. There's even an episode where he gets shot and conclusively killed, only no one bought that one for a second because guess what? As everybody predicted, it turns out he didn't die after all. Both with plot armor and immortality, we know they will never die. Deriving stakes from their death is folly. Perhaps it's the people they have relationships with. While we know the Doctor can't die, we do fear for his companions and the characters of the week, all of which can meet nasty ends. Even if you don't like a character like the Master, you can still have powerful stakes because their death means a ton to your immortal.
You can't end like this. You and me, all the things we've done.
In that vein, you've got Logan trying to save Jean.
I love you.
Not very successfully. It could be Bootstrap Bill covering for his son and paying a terrible price to save him from a terrible fate.
Bootstrap Bill, you're a liar and you will spend an eternity on this ship.
But if you feel like conditional immortality is a bit of a cop-out and killing the ones they care about is just a bit too blunt, you can get freaky with it. You can go to some incredibly dark places because all throughout fiction, even through mythology, we've had so many horrid fates for immortals, ones worse than death. In Doctor Who, and Christ, this is turning into a Doctor Who video, isn't it? There is a group of aliens desperate to steal the Doctor's agelessness and immortality, killing many innocents along the way. They fail, and so the Doctor punishes them by giving them what they were after.
He wrapped my father in unbreakable chains forged in the heart of a dwarf star. He tricked my mother into the event horizon of a collapsing galaxy, to be imprisoned there forever. My sister. He trapped her inside a mirror. Every mirror. As for me, I was suspended in time. And the doctor
I'm just kind of dicking around with this to see what I like.
The fields of England. We wanted to live forever. So the doctor made sure that we did.
This is a storytelling stake that you cannot have without immortality, an eternity of suffering, turning something to be a blessing into the worst curse imaginable. Take Mimir in God of War, immortal and cursed to be fused with a tree.
He tortures me, you know. Every day, brother. Odin himself sees to it personally, and believe me, there is no end to his creativity.
That also reminds me of Harold from Fallout. He fused with a tree sapling, and as the centuries ticked by, it grew and grew until it took root in the ground, pinning him in place. By the time we meet him in Fallout 3, he's finally had enough.
I had you brought in here to ask a very simple favor. Would you please kill me?
Dark stuff. If you get creative here, the stakes for your immortal can be even worse than death. Again, in Torchwood Miracle Day, every character is immortal, but eternal torment is a living, broken corpse. The stakes in that story are higher because everyone is immortal. Then you have the Greek myths. Tithonus was granted immortality, but not eternal youth, so he aged like a mortal to rather grim results. Or Prometheus being chained to a rock and having his liver eaten by an eagle every day. And here's a really bleak one. In the short film Control Z, the protagonist has a device where when he dies, he resets back to a certain point. It ends with him setting his reset point as he steps into a road. And he tries as best he can to avoid it, but he can't.
Oh, there we go.
So he's trapped in the loop, dying, not just until the end of the universe, but eternally. And the key mistake he made, aside from the reset point, you can see it right here. A little more, nearly there. Right there, that's right, he didn't install NordVPN, the sponsor of today's video. NordVPN doesn't just give you immortality, it means you can browse the internet with near total privacy thanks to their end-to-end encryption, so you can make extra sure no one can know things like your bank details or that you watch ASMR. That is nifty, but where it's the most useful to me, aside from the immortality of course, is how you can expand your streaming libraries. I'm in the UK, but let's say Cool Cat Saves the Kids is only available on Canada's Netflix. I can use NordVPN to pretend I'm Canadian for 90 minutes, watch it, and it's happy days. This is the main thing I use Nord for, but it's great for other things too. It's always scanning the dark web, so if your details leak, you can know they have and do something about it before anyone can use them for anything nefarious. And they've got a nifty anti-phishing feature, Threat Protection Pro, which gives you yet another layer of protection. So if you want added security, extra films and shows, and
there we
extra
go.
Immortality, and sorry, what's that? NordVPN doesn't actually make you immortal? It's a great deal anyway. Just click my link in the description or use my code CLOSERLOOK at the checkout for 4 free months when you get a 2-year plan. Do click that link and start enjoying loads of region block stuff today. But back to it, there are still other ways to derive stakes with an immortal. It could be the love triangle of Twilight, perhaps there's a larger collective, some group they're fighting for, and while they can't personally die, that group can still lose or be destroyed. This could be Wolverine fighting to protect the students in X-Men 2, or Omni-Man fighting in the name of the Viltrum Empire. It could be Legolas trying to save Middle-earth, Hellboy protecting the public from monsters. You get the gist. You could even explore the apathy of an immortal, and that can be the main thing
There's
at
like
stake in
a
the story. Will they find meaning, or will they descend into the nihilism of thinking nothing matters, so why bother? And speaking of, how would immortality affect the mind?
Make Michael's your one-stop graduation shop. We've got decor and party essentials all in one place. Plus, order balloons perfectly timed for your party. Your grad deserves a celebration as special as they are. So turn their achievements into the party of the year.
In this video, I'll show you 3 methods for how you can add a toon style outline to your models in Blender. Use pencil to create a toon. So kind of over here, you can line art. You can also change object line art. There's also scene, and you can quickly do it like that. You can also select the object, go to the add menu and go to grease pencil, and you can choose collection line art. And this is going to add the line art to all the objects in a certain color. If it's turned on, a new material in line. Now on this outline material, we also want to go to the settings here and we want to check mark the back face culling, and this will hide the back faces of that material. Now it's going to tell it which material to use in the.
Okay. Okay, so we got one material. We need another one. Material. Hold on, I'm trying to
material. With the object selected, color to whatever color you want using the solidify modifier. So what we're first going to do is select the object, and we're going to go to the material panel, and we're going to add a new material into the material slot.
Oh. There we go. All right. Then
let's click on new, and I'm going to call this outline. So on the surface here, I'm just going to choose the emission shader, and then for the color here, I'll make it fully black, but you can change this color to whatever color you want for the outline. Now on this outline material, we also want to go to the settings shader, and then for the color here, I'll
mission. Gonna make it like a slight color. Okay, that's pretty solid.
I'll make it fully black, but you can change this color to whatever color you want for the outline. Now on this outline material, we also want to go to the settings here, and we want to check mark the back face culling, and this will hide the back faces of that material. So with the object selected, let's go to the modifiers, and we're going to add the solidify modifier. Now to make this solidify look like line art, we want to go down here to normals, and we want to click on flip so that it flips the normals of the solidify. Then we want to go down
all right, hold on.
Settings here, and we want to check mark the back face.
So this. No. Grab this material.
Culling, and this will hide the back faces of that material. So with the object selected, let's go to the modifiers, and we're going to add the solidify modifier. Now,
modifiers. And solidify.
Now to make this solidify look like line art, we want to go down here to normals and we want to click on
flip
so that it flips the normals of the solidify. Then we want to go down here to the materials, and here on the material offset, this is going to tell it which material to use in the material panel. So if the material offset is set to 0, then it's going to use the very first material in the material slots. So you may need to turn it to a bigger number so that it uses the bottom one here, the outline, but for me, since I just have 2 materials, I can go here to the modifiers, and here on the material offset, I can just turn this to 1, and so it's telling it that it's going to use the next material in the material slot.
Okay. Oh. There we go. Like, fix that. Look at that, y'all. For some reason, it doesn't detect the bottom, but that's fine. Look at him. It looks so good. Taking my job, I see. Well, okay, someone maybe this model. I'm just working with it. I'm just kind of like dicking around, see what I like about it. That's pretty good. Wish I could use Blender. It's hard. Oh, the angle clamp kind of makes it look like shit. I don't like the clamp. I mean, physically, I can't use it. Yeah. Okay. All right. I like that. Save. Save. Save as. You dumbass. You dumbass.blend. My Chromebook won't run it? Yeah. Not good. Not great. Fuck sent me a friend request. Who the fuck is this? Fuck is Jade? I don't know this person. Go away. Alrighty. I think I'm done for now. I'm gonna head out. I have dinner. We're gonna be doing Subnautica tomorrow. Be there or be square. Have a good night. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.